All right, we're going to move on with our next hybrid forum, and that's Malaysia, an emerging global giant in medical tourism. We've got our moderator, Mr. Presanth Chandra, the co-founder of Tin Media, and Presanth is going to come up and introduce his speakers, both live here in the hall and also crossing over online to join us, yeah? So make sure you come on over and take your seats in front of the stage and get ready to take part in this. Presanth, come on. It's your time to run the show.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris. Hello and welcome everyone to the 4th forum. May I invite Dr. Mary Ann and Dr. Chan on the stage, please. Yeah. All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 4th session of WHOLE2020 Hybrid Forums, co-organized by Tin Media. My name is Presanth Chandra, the moderator for the session. So good evening to both of our panelists today. We have also a virtual guest joining us all the way from Kuala Lumpur. Good evening, Shahril. Hi, you're connected? Good. Yeah. All right. So those who are watching online, please type down which city you're watching from. And before that, I just need to have a small announcement for the audience. We will have an online contest towards the end of the session, which will make you win prizes worth 10,000 ringgit. So stay tuned, and we'll be selecting 3 lucky winners from this forum. All right, so let me start the discussion. Today we are talking about Malaysia, an emerging global giant in medical tourism. Before that, let me introduce you to the panel of industry leaders we have here. Dr. Mary Ann, Executive Director, Penang Center for Medical Tourism. Dr. Chan, Founding Chairman, Penang Health Association. And virtually joining us from Kuala Lumpur, Mr. Mohd Shahril, Head of Marketing Services, Malaysia Healthcare Travel Council. So I can see there are a lot of people joining us on the online stream. A very warm welcome to every one of you. So let's start the discussion. So Dr. Mary Ann, can I ask you, how established is the medical tourism industry in Penang?
Hello. Yeah. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, Presanth, Dr. Chan. Well, the medical industry has been very established in Penang for many years now. I think it gradually built up over the years, and today it's become the largest revenue generator in the country. Penang, according to MHTC's statistics, generated about 61% of the total medical tourism revenue for Malaysia in 2018. So just to give you an idea of Malaysia being an emerging global giant in medical tourism, it is estimated that the global medical tourism market is expected to reach $207.9 billion by 2027. So that's just 7 years from now. and we have a sizable share of that. It is estimated about 1 billion ringgit pre-COVID. Okay, and in Penang, we have won the #1 spot for medical tourism in the country, according to the International Medical Journal, that gave the award for Health and Medical Tourism Destination of the Year in 2015 and 2016. Penang is very successful because we have some unique selling points. Okay. For example, our doctors are resident in the hospitals. Okay, what resident means is that they are based in one hospital. In many countries, in less developed countries, the doctors move from hospital to hospital. Okay, so if you want an appointment, you have to look for where the doctor is based at that time. We also have many doctors who are internationally trained in the Commonwealth. They study in places like Australia, Ireland, India, Hong Kong, New Zealand, and Canada. So we have a diversity of training and expertise. And our primary market is Indonesia. 90% of our medical tourists come from Indonesia. And our cultural similarity, religion, food, especially the halal food, is a major plus point why medical tourism is so successful to the Indonesians. Besides that, our affordability and our proximity to Indonesia are the main reasons why medical tourism is so established in Penang. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Dr. Ann, for that sharing. Can I ask Dr. Chan, share with us your vision and when you first started the idea of Penang Health Association? What was the mission of establishment at that time? Yeah.
I'm still breathing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not yet dead. Okay, what made us start medical tourism? Number one, I am a Penangite. So I must make sure that the island of Penang keeps on rising instead of sinking. When we started, I had the unfortunate privilege of being a doctor as well as being a businessman. And I saw that actually Penang medical treatment is really world class. And because of that, we decided that there are people outside the country who could make use of what we have. It is our love for our neighbors. Dear friends, if you want to do business, you must first of all be good to your friends. So we have a good medical system. And on top of that, we were able to persuade the different hospitals. We have 7 private hospitals. And you know, all these are competing one with another. Because if a patient goes to your hospital, it will not come to mine. So there is this problem of competition. And so we decided to alter the English language. Instead of competition, C-O-M-P-E-T-I-T-O-N, we changed it to co-opetition. Co-opetition meaning cooperation as well as competition. And we are very glad that this organization grew from within our different hospitals. And the first time that I saw in the exhibitions like we have here, the different hospitals not competing with one another. And for that, I must thank the state government, because when we held this in Jakarta, there was an area with a built bridge, a picture of a bridge of Penang to the mainland, and all the Penang hospitals were inside there. There's no separate name and so on. So we say, okay, if you want something that you want to know, this hospital will tell you more. So we became what we call Penang Health, and today is PMED. So here we work together for the good of Penang. So we don't care whether the patient comes to A hospital, B hospital, or C hospital, but please come to Penang. And today, after the so-called 15 years or 18 years that we have done this, we have plenty. Do you know that every day 1,000 patients come to Penang? 1,000 for medical treatment. That's a lot. And you know that the revenue that is brought by these so-called medical tourists, as Dr. Marianne said, is coming down to 600 or 700, not thousand, 600 or 700 million, million. Now, just look how much money it is bringing to the state and to Malaysia from investment that we did ourselves. And not only we're talking about money, but the patients come here because they get what they can't get at home. They have to travel here, and there's something that's great they have. So thank you, Penangites, for making Penang a place that people can come. And if they already know, if we can break the culture, of course we have lots of patients from Indonesia. They form 82% of the number of patients, which amount to about 400,000, come from Indonesia. We have tried with other countries, but unfortunately, our culture is slightly different from them. So we have to break this culture slowly, but we will do it. Thank you, Penang. Thank you, Marianne, for taking over this. It is something that is going to be big. I'm not saying it because I'm a Penangite, but the world says it. CNBC, the American news agency, has said on the TV that Penang has good medical services in comparison to other people. They don't, I didn't bribe them, but they came and saw me one day, and after discussion, came on the things. And actually, World Medical Tourism says that Penang is now overtaking Singapore. Singapore was big. So we are now getting big. Why? Because we are good and cheap. And people are satisfied, more important.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Chan, for that sharing. Indeed, we got to learn a lot from you, from your experience. Let us move on to our virtual speaker, Mr. Shahril. May I ask you, do you think medical tourism should be the first among the rest of to be allowed, when the international borders reopen?
Thank you, Presanth. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to everyone. And of course, hello to Dr. Marianne and Dr. Chan. Hi. Before I start, just would like to say thanks, special thanks to the organizer and of course to your team, Presanth, in media for inviting MHTC part of this session. Thank you so much. I think first and foremost, it is part of our humanitarian effort, you see, to basically looking at how to position Malaysia as the preferred destination for healthcare travel. And we want to position us as we are still with you every step of the way, especially during this challenging period, you see. So, and most, like Dr. Chan mentioned just now, most of them have sought medical treatment here in Malaysia from, very beginning, from generation to generation, and then they have been familiar with our treatment and the trust that they have put into our healthcare services and the confidence that they give towards our medical professionals, our doctors, our specialists. That shows something. So I think the potential for us to be, to allow the international patient to come after, of course, after COVID, when international border reopen, that would be possible. And then secondly, I think looking for MHTC, we are looking at the overall economy and overall industry, I would say, especially during this period. Again, especially during this challenging period, as we rebuilding the economy, we see this, all these closing the borders and all that as an opportunity for us to jump start the economy, especially when most of the I think most of the industry has affected very badly during this pandemic, I would say. So I guess the answer is yes, but of course priority and our we always for us MHTC and of course Malaysia Healthcare always remain to safeguard the nations, the safety of Malaysia borders, and of course Malaysian is our top priority, definitely. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Shahril, for that sharing. May I ask Dr. Mary, what has to be done to make Malaysia the most sought medical tourism hub according to you?
Well, the first thing would be to improve flight connectivity. I'm speaking mainly from a Penang perspective because we don't have as many airlines flying into the state. And now, unfortunately, with COVID, I think no international airlines fly here. So to have access from other places in the region would greatly help to boost medical tourism. The second thing that would help is the visa approval process for both the patient as well as the caregivers. Right now, patients face obstacles or sometimes it's very difficult to get extensions to visas. So when they require long-term treatment, they have to go back and forth to the immigration office, and this hampers their treatment as well. And they usually are rather sick, so they come with a caregiver. So the same visa extension must be given as easily and as hassle-free as possible to both of them. The other measure that can be taken to improve Malaysia's medical standing is to have more publicity and awareness. We are so affordable compared to Singapore or the United States or even Australia. So we should shout about our affordability because the care that is given is the same level as that accorded in other countries. Many of our hospitals are accredited by the Joint Commission Industry or JCI, which is a certification from the US. And this certification is not given to everybody or any party easily. There are very stringent rules and SOPs that you have to adhere to before you are accorded this certification. So why pay so much when you can get the same treatment here in sunny Malaysia for a fraction of the cost? So more awareness needs to be generated on these factors. Not many people know that we have JCI certified hospitals. So we have to inform and update the public, and especially in those countries. When you go overseas for trade shows, people don't know where Malaysia is, much less than what about our medical tourism. So these are the efforts we have to step up.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mary. I think, yes, marketing and communication needs to be, a lot of work to be done, I think, in this case. All right, Dr. Chan, I would like to have your opinion on, how do you think Penang fare in terms of promoting health tourism to our neighboring countries?
I think the most important mode of promotion is your service. Your service, what they get in terms of treatment and what they get in terms of how you look after them for the price that they pay. So I think as far as Malaysia is concerned, we have to work at these two important things. Number one, we have to continually improve our medical care. We have good, but we need to go at a higher level of care. Number two, we have to be very, very pleasing to patients. Patients come, they are sick, they find that it's so nice to come to find somebody who's smiling and not somebody who says, oh, never mind, this is medicine, don't care. Very, very important. You must appeal to the patient. If we can do that, I think we can go very far. At the current moment, as I said, we have a cultural problem with other countries. If you look at the number of medical tourists coming, say, for example, neighboring countries, the second after Indonesia, my figures may be a little bit older, is Japan. Now, Japan, they have good treatment, but why do they come here? It's perhaps they feel that it is cheaper or whatever it is. And don't tell Singapore, patients who are on insurance or have to pay out of pocket, they are now trying to attract them to Malaysia. And I hope MHTC, the hospitals in the south, in Johor, should beef up their services so that they can get more patients from Singapore. Because the price is a third of what we have to pay out of pocket in Singapore. So all we have is all the good factors. Only thing, how well are we capitalizing on those things? If we don't, then sudah. We cannot have a tidak apa attitude. We must go forward and forward and forward.
Rightly said, Dr. Chan. I think, yes, we need to capitalize the resources. Absolutely right, as you mentioned. All right, so those who are watching online, have a small request to all of you that, please share this live feed on your Facebook wall, Twitter, LinkedIn, so that more people can watch it, so that, they also can get a chance to win the prize, the contest, what we're going to have after this session. So let me move on to Shahril. Can I ask you, Shahril, what are the achievements of Malaysia in medical tourism so far? Yeah.
Thanks, Presanth. I agree with, before that, I agree with Dr. Chan. We have to move forward. We have to think ahead, even though during this challenging period. Yes, totally agree with you, Dr. Chan. Well, to talk about the achievement of medical travel in Malaysia, I think for the past 10 years, it has been very significant, I would say. Global recognition, I think Dr. Marianne has covered a little bit earlier just now during the introduction. Yes, we have been recognized. Malaysia has been recognized as Destination of the Year by International Medical Travel Journal, IMTJ, based in the UK for 3 years in a row, 2015, 16, and 17. And of course, highly commended Destination of the Year by IMTJ as well, 2018 and last year, 2019. I think on top of that, we also have been recognized by US-based International Living based on their Global Retirement Index, position us as the best country in the world for healthcare from 2015 to 2019 last year. So I think this is a very significant achievement for us, Malaysian, and of course, as a nation, as a country. And for us, MHTC, we are also responsible on achieving, our targets and our KPI. When it comes to our performance, Presanth and the rest of the panels, I would like to also highlight here. Last year, 2019, we have managed to gain about 1.3 million healthcare travelers, signifying the trust of international patients giving towards our local healthcare services, our private local healthcare services. I think that's quite significant as well. In terms of revenue, of course, Dr. Marianne just now also have covered a little bit on Penang side, on Penang perspective. But for MHTC, we are covering Malaysia as a whole. We gain about 17% increase in revenue for 2019, achieving more than 1.8 billion ringgit in hospital receipts alone. This basically resulting to total economic impact to 6.6 billion ringgit. And this is definitely a huge potential for medical travel. And of course, this year will be a different case altogether, given that the pandemics and the situation. So that's more or less the performance and the achievements so far that the industry, the stakeholders has been gained for medical travel in Malaysia.
All right, thank you, Shahril, for that. I think it's pretty, impressive in terms of numbers. We wish it should go up when the time comes and everything goes back to normal. We will have better numbers in terms of achievement. So, can I ask Dr. Mary Ann this question? Like, how do you see COVID-19 crisis has affected the medical tourism sector?
I think everybody knows that COVID-19 had a devastating impact on the medical tourism, especially for Penang, since our borders were closed. The borders reopened to medical tourists in early August with strict SOPs to be followed, mainly for charter flights and with MHTC's approval. Unfortunately, there was a backlash among the local community when there was a charter flight that brought in 3 medical tourists. I think it's a fear of the virus, and that's rather unfortunate, but that is the rational behavior. So for now, we have 0 medical tourists, except those foreigners who are already residing in the state under MM2H or those who are working here on work visas. So there are no foreign patients at the moment. Compounding this effect is the fact that many locals or Malaysians are also staying away from hospitals because they fear the contagion. So they are not seeking elective treatment. For those treatments that can be postponed, they are postponing it. So the hospitals are suffering greatly. This is an unfortunate effect of the pandemic.
Thank you, Dr. Marian. Thank you for that sharing. Okay, Dr. Chan, what makes Malaysia stand out as a preferred destination for medical tourism, according to you? What makes Malaysia stand out as a preferred medical tourism destination?
As I said before, I have elaborated just now why up till now the product is assessed by people who use it, that means the patients, and they think it's very good, and that's why they keep on coming. Like in Penang, you get good food from a hawker, you always go and tell people about it. But if I could go back a little bit to what Dr. Marianne said, I think we need a think tank on how to handle this situation. It is not saying, oh, because we come from a country that has COVID, you tak boleh masuk. I mean, in medicine, we have dealt with infectious diseases before. And we have survived because we have found the correct solution to this. So instead of put a blanket, you can't do anything, don't come, you mati-mati semua. Just imagine, I like $60, but Penang is losing $600 million a year. Can we sit around and say, oh, sorry, that's not my problem? No, I think the impact that COVID has on the economy is something very great. But please, everybody concerned, the health authorities, the economists, the politicians, we'll have to sit down and say, okay, what is the best way out of this problem? There is no straightforward thing. And if in the past, medicine, we can know how to deal with tuberculosis, we know how to deal with leprosy, why can't we do something to deal with the situation of COVID? I'm sure COVID will not go off, but still, we have to live with it. We must find means and ways of living with it and be realistic. A patient comes from Indonesia to Penang, not because they like the satay here or they like the char kway teow here, but they come here for medical treatment. So how do you know that they are bringing COVID with them? There must be a system whereby you can screen them or whatever. I know there is this system of what you call putting them aside for 2 weeks, okay, before they go in. Is that correct? We have to find ourselves. Is there a study done? Because although we put them across like this, there are people outside who were working and spread COVID all around. What about them? Do we put them all in? So, ladies and gentlemen, please, I think those of you who are in medical tourism, it's a very important thing for the image of Malaysia, for its economy. Let us sit down and think of a way to deal with it. Maybe we can find a drug for it. Maybe we can not wait for Russia or whatever to do it. But if we are not able, let's just put aside and think, what can we do day to day to limit it? Now we stand here. I have taken off my mask because I know that if I have COVID, it won't fly to you. But if you're sitting close there, you can pass one to the other. So that is a rational thing. You can't say, oh, sorry, Dr. Chan, you must put it on. If I put it on, you can't hear what I'm saying. So what's the point wasting your time? So this is a rational way of doing things. Don't do a blanket thing, but see the best way out. This, I feel, is the best way out of this situation. It won't change. Flights won't come in. Flights won't come in. If you say, no, you come here, you don't have any patients, why must I fly and waste thousands of dollars of fuel to come here? But if we can have a system whereby we can be sure, I come here, we come here, because you're sure that I won't spread COVID around, that's the way to do it. So I think one of the most important things to get us out of this problem is not to use old standard ways of doing it, but become novel. We have brains. Make use of those brain cells left to come up to see. Don't say, oh, tak boleh, ini tak boleh, because I'm not a prime minister. Oh, you can't do this and can't do that. We can put our minds together, and together we will be able to go through the deep waters.
Thank you, Dr. Chan. Thank you for the sharing. Yes, I think we completely agree with you that we should actually, need to find a solution of the situation. I'm sure everyone is trying their best at this point of time. Yeah. So, can I ask Shahril, what are the push and pull factors, the motivators in medical tourism, according to you? Like,
before I go there, I think I totally agree with Dr. Chan again. I think the relevant stakeholders should come together and strategize what can we do together to ensure the sustainability of this industry moving forward, of course, post-COVID-19. So I think it's important for us to come together, and I agree. Perhaps we can have like a think tank session for with all the relevant stakeholders to look into this and how to move forward. After COVID, of course. Talking about the pull and pull factor, Prashant, I think Dr. Marian even and together with Dr. Chan have already covered, the world-class qualities healthcare services that we have here. in nationwide in Malaysia. And then of course the affordability of our healthcare services. And even we can also always emphasize that our healthcare treatments are all monitored by Ministry of Health, including the pricing tax and all that. So it's all governed by the government. And of course, the ease of accessibility. That one, we receive, like Dr. Marianne said, that we receive a lot of patients from Indonesia because of our geographical locations. But of course, due to COVID-19 and the border closed and all that, it's impossible at this point of time. I guess the important thing is here. I just want to emphasize that Malaysia healthcare constantly believe that good quality healthcare should be a right, not just a privilege. And we aspire to share our world-class healthcare services, especially to those who need it the most, especially now at this challenging period. So that's quite crucial. And then I think if we talk about the pull and push factor, we can also leverage on the current situation, which how Ministry of Health has managed the pandemic or the crisis very efficiently, you see. And we have been praised by WHO on our ability to, managing and to deal with this pandemic or with this COVID-19 situation. And I think we are also ranked, Malaysia has also ranked second as most successful country in fighting this pandemic. And I think on top of that, the pull factor at this point of time is also given that our Tan Sri DG has been recognized as one of the top medical professionals and doctors in the world. So I guess that shows how even during this challenging period, during this very worrying period and all that, we still come together, and try to fight this as a nation, and to make sure that, and to tell people outside of Malaysia that Malaysia is safe, and we have taken a very extra precautions in terms of managing the pandemic. And once the border is open, then they are ready to come here to Malaysia and get their treatment. Yeah.
Thank you, Shahril, for that sharing. Absolutely agree with you. I think this is the time to have more meaningful conversations and engaging the top, experienced crowd in the industry to get a solution at this point of time. We have a quite mix of an audience watching from different countries. I would like to share this with all those who are watching live. Please write down your questions or suggestions on the comment section. If the time permits, we will take up some of the questions, or those who are watching online, we will be answering your queries on the same page itself, maybe even after the sessions as well. So I would like to ask this question to Dr. Mary Ann. What are the positive impact of this crisis you have noticed in medical tourism?
Well, the main benefit is the shorter queues. There are no queues in the hospitals right now. Recently, I took my daughter for a medical checkup, and she got it done in less than half an hour. Previously, you literally have to spend a whole day in the hospital. So I don't know if this is a good or bad thing, but if you ever need to consult a doctor, now is the time to go. Back to a more serious side, I think this pandemic has accelerated the technological advance in doctor-patient relationships. Many of the medical tourists are consulting the doctors virtually. So that has enabled some certain form of diagnosis and treatment. It doesn't completely substitute for the physical interaction, but since there's not much choice, I think this is the best they can do under the circumstances. I also want to say that some people have resented the long queues and the long waiting times that medical tourists sort of create with their presence here. But medical tourists do bring many benefits besides the multiplier effects on the economy in terms of the accommodation, the transportation, the pharmaceuticals, the numerous services that they consume. They also enable us to, or the hospitals to purchase expensive machines and equipment that the local population of about 1.8 million in Penang cannot support. By having these thousands of, or 1,000 medical tourists a day, it creates economies of scales and enables the hospitals to upgrade their equipment, get better treatment facilities, and we all benefit due to the greater usage. So they do bring benefit to the hospitals, even though we have to wait a long time when they are here.
Right, thank you, Dr. Mary Ann, for that insightful sharing. All right, so Dr. Chan, I would like to ask you this: like, when you talk about infrastructure, so infrastructure in medical tourism, stress a fairly important role in in development of that sector. So, according to you, what do you think? Like, Malaysia has adequate facilities to cater the global medical tourists?
Well, I think it is very important that we cannot look at the situation like in the pre-COVID days. You see, the restriction that we have is not because of our inability or the scarcity of our services. It is imposed upon us by a force outside. So I think during this period, I would suggest maybe it is not in line, maybe MHTC will be listening to this. We have to use a strategy of reaching out. Dr. Marianne mentioned doing a distance consultation. I think we have to set up a system whereby our medical tourists, although they may not be here, would be able to consult our doctors. And our doctors must be able to give the advice and even be able to advise them how to do it in the country. Now, if you create this, I think it's a very important bridge, a shaky bridge, but very important for us to maintain the good reputation that we have. If we just say, oh, tidak apa, saya tak peduli, it's not my problem, then sorry. You may have to start all over again. So I think one of the things that we must do is to reach out, not reach in. And as Dr. Marianne says, she doesn't have to wait for a long time. The time that we have, why don't we make use of it instead of the doctors sitting down there drinking coffee or shaking their legs? Why don't they do something more? Like, for example, they can do distance consultation, not to make so much money, of course, but then to preserve the relationship, which will be the background for our next phase, when we know how to handle the COVID situation.
Thank you, Dr. Chan. I think as rightly mentioned, this is a time to reach out to those markets to tell what we have, what we can offer. And I think all the digital means of communication is very important at this point of time, because I think this is the only way to make sure that people know what we have here, so that when the borders open, people can always come and avail the services. So let's ask Shahril this question, like which country, according to you, are making the greatest achievements in the medical tourism, and what are they doing actually?
Well, Prashant, many have jumped into the bandwagon, and I think as what I have mentioned previously, and of course Dr. Mary Ann is also mentioning, Malaysia, in terms of our performance and our achievements so far, Malaysia has progressed very well, making it the #1 destination for healthcare travel by volume. That has been recognized again by the global market research done by Liang Bezong, expert in healthcare travel intelligence based in the UK. So I guess that's testament that already proof that, you know, we are already there at the medical travel industry. And I guess for us, Malaysia Healthcare, we aspire to maintain that position post COVID-19 through our campaign called Malaysia, the World Healthcare Marvel. This is basically, I mean, the objective of this campaign is basically to keep Malaysia as top of mind destination for healthcare travel once, of course, once the border, the international border is open. And we believe, you know, amplifying this positive, what do you call that? Positive news, positive information that we have now in terms of how well we manage the pandemics, and of course, given that our expertise, our excellent talents, medical talents, and all that, I think this will definitely give us the bonus point for us to be top of mind of, you know, our existing and our potential patients moving forward post COVID-19. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Shahril. I think yes, Malaysia is already there, and I think it's a matter of proud for all of us. So can I ask Dr. Mary Ann, you know, what is your message to the medical tourism and promoters who are watching us?
Well, firstly, we have learned that we need to diversify our market. We have put all our eggs in the Indonesian basket, and now that market is shut off to us. So it is vital that we look for other source markets. Secondly, we can replicate our success with the Indonesians because of the language, the culture, the similarity. We speak so many languages, so we can look at those markets that have a similar communication medium with us and try to tap that market. For example, Singapore, China. Lastly, we can see that there is demand because foreign patients are pleading, they're asking every day, when can we come back? We need treatment. As you can see by what I mentioned earlier, those 3 patients who chartered a flight to come over, it is not cheap. So it is not for recreational purposes, but it's because they're chronically ill, they need urgent treatment, they need to be healed. So if there is a way that we can perhaps perform a COVID test 14 days prior to their departure, let them self-isolate or quarantine 14 days before coming to ensure they are virus-free and then come over. Perhaps that is another method that those requiring urgent medical attention can be permitted to come over.
Thank you, Dr. Mary Ann. I think we're running towards the end of our session. I would like to ask Dr. Chan on your final thoughts. You know, what is your prediction for medical tourism in 2021?
My final thoughts are very simple. If we have brought a nice child into this world, we have to continue to make that child grow up correctly. So I think the things that we have heard and shared, these are things that should be taken very seriously. First of all, to get a proper assessment of the situation. You know that not everybody who gets COVID-19 dies. The percentage of mortality is very low, relatively speaking, the number of patients that have. So if they have COVID, doesn't mean that they're going to die. But it is very important for us to distinguish what is important. And I say what is important is if you have a good product, don't allow the fungus to grow on it. Work on it, make it alive, one way or the other, be innovative. And that's what will assure you that Malaysia will really become a world center of world knowledge for how to handle medical tourism. You have got a good gift, don't throw it away.
Thank you, Dr. Chan. I think It's really, I mean, amazing to hear from you that it's a time for innovation. Be innovative. I think it's a fantastic thing. So can I have Sharin? What are the collaborative opportunities to the medical tourism promoters who are watching you?
Yes, I totally agree with Dr. Marianne on exploring other markets looking at the current situation. And again, echoing to Dr. Chan, we have to be innovative. Yes, totally agree with that. I guess, Prashant, looking at the current situation or the scenario now, especially when we are faced with this pandemic, all industry players need to be innovative, definitely, in order to sustain the industry further. As of now, I think we can focus on perhaps digitalization. This is an opportunity for us to embrace our digital knowledge or in digital skills, and in terms of package and product, which enable the end-to-end ecosystem in medical tourism ecosystem perhaps beyond medical. You see, for example, through digital health, like Dr. Marianne mentioned, telemedicine, teleconsult, e-pharmacy, e-prescriptions, that kind of thing. You see, on top of that, I guess we also can explore the opportunity of wellness and traditional medicine tourism, also assisted living retirement homes, perhaps. Well, in a nutshell, our main goal or our main objective is the same: is for the industry's long-term sustainability. So I guess the opportunity is there. Again, I agree with Dr. Chan. The stakeholders has to come together and try to think creatively and be innovative on how to move forward. And I also would like to take this opportunity, Prashant, when you talk about opportunities, MHTC will be organizing our 5th annual edition of Medical Travel Intelligent Conference, Insight 2020. It's going to happen in November 24th and until 26th. It's going to be a virtual. It's also a hybrid conference. So these platforms or these events or this conference will be a good opportunities for all industry players, promoters, health facilitators, of course, health providers, to be in the same platforms and to gain more knowledge and more case studies, and also to learn how can we work collectively together to tackle this challenging period, and of course to move forward with to ensure the sustainability of the sector. Yeah. Oh,
thank you.
sorry, question. I think just for the benefit of the industry players also, for you guys to get to know further about Insight 2020 that will be organized by MHTC, please log on. You can visit mhtc.org.my/insight2020. Yeah, for more details.
I think if you could write it down on on the comment section, people can pick it up from there. All right. Sure. Thank you so much, Shahril, for that sharing. I think definitely digitalization is the way forward, and as you rightly said. So, Dr. Mary Ann, any final thoughts from you on this subject?
So we can see that medical tourism does play a part in our economy, and 20 million people travel every year to get medical treatment outside their country. So why not we maximize the benefit that is available, and in the same process help our local population get access to facilities and equipment that is otherwise not affordable.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mary Ann. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this session. It was indeed very informative and thoughtful session. I'm sure it has helped to make our understanding better on medical tourism. Let me thank each one of you to take your time and to join us, especially Shahril, all the way from Kuala Lumpur. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts. So we're looking forward to see you again. Thank you so much. So now the most exciting part of the session is here. It's a time for the online contest. Let me pass the stage to Ms. Joanne to continue with the contest information. Okay, over to you, Joanne.
Thank you very much to all our speakers. Wow. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are watching us live right now in teen.media, and as well as whole Penang 2020 Facebook live session right now. This is Joanne, okay? As you can see on the screen right now, there is a big competition happening right now. We'd like to say thank you to our panelists, Dr. Marianne, Dr. Chan, as well as Encik Shahril from MHTC for joining us. So right now is the contest session where we're giving away hotel vouchers. We're giving away prizes worth up to 10,000 ringgit for these 3 days, all right? So if you're watching, first thing you got to do is just to go like in our Facebook. Go to your Facebook. For those of you who are here, you can also participate with us, all right? Our ground friends right now on the ground. Go to your Facebook. Look for teen.media, or you can just simply go into Facebook and look for Teen Media. All right, look for the logo and then click on the live session that's happening right now. If you can see, I'm on the stage with the pink color background right now. And at this moment, I will be flashing a picture for you. All you have to do is just to put in the comment section, what picture is that? Okay, the picture will be flashed out in 10 seconds. We're going to close the picture for 10 seconds and then you're going to give me the answer. Okay, once you put in the comment, we will be selecting the lucky winner and we'll announce the lucky winner tonight in our Facebook itself. We will individually message you if you're selected as our lucky winner, all right? So hopefully you guys are lucky enough. If you're ready, I'm ready. We're going to flash the picture right now. There goes 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. There goes, ladies and gentlemen, 10 seconds where the picture is. Tell me what picture is that? Put in the comment section and you will be in the running to be the lucky winner for our prizes worth up to 10,000 ringgit for these 3 beautiful days at whole Penang 2020. I'm going to pass the stage back to our official and the most professional MC. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up to Chris Gunn. Once again, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Joanne, and thank you to Presanth.